Today's story is one eye, two eyes, and three eyes. One eye, two eyes, and three eyes. Okay, so one eye, two eyes, and three eyes is the name of the story, the title of the story. Grimm Brothers, one of the Grimm Brothers fairy tales. A long time ago, once upon a time, there was a woman. This woman had three daughters. The first daughter had just one eye in her forehead. Right here, forehead. The second daughter had just two eyes, and the third daughter had two eyes, and then the third eye in the forehead. And so this girl's name was One Eye, this girl's name was Two Eyes, and this girl's name was Three Eyes. Well, the mother loved this first girl and the third girl because they were different. But she did not like the second girl, Two Eyes. And so the mother made her work all day long and did not give her enough food. She was not a nice mother. She abused her. Oh, poor girl. And these two sisters were not nice either. They gave her very little to eat. And so she was always very, very hungry. Every day, the mother said to Two Eyes to go to a pasture. Pasture is a place where lots of grass, a land covered with grass. And so on the pasture, cows and goats and horses, and they eat grass here on the pasture. Anyway, the mother said to Two Eyes to take a goat. Goat, you know what a goat is. Goat. Okay? Mother said to Two Eyes to take a goat to the pasture and have the goat eat grass. So every day. So Two Eyes one day went to the pasture and she sat down on the pasture and she cried. She cried because she was hungry. Because the people, mother and sisters, were not nice to her, and so she cried. When she was crying, somebody came. Somebody came and somebody said, "Why are you crying?" It was an old woman. Old woman said, "Why are you crying?" And so Two Eyes said, "I have a reason to cry," she said. "I am always hungry. My mother and sisters treat me badly. They push me around, they throw things at me, and they give me very little to eat. I am always hungry, she said to the old woman. This old woman said, Two Eyes, stop crying. I will help you. She said, I will give you a magic words. You tell the goat, when you are hungry, you say to the goat, bleat. Bleat is like cry, bah, okay? Bleat, little goat, bleat. Cover the table with something to eat. Say that. This is a magic word. Cover the table with something to eat. And then you will see a table. You will see a table will appear. And the table will appear with a white tablecloth. And then on the table, you will see many, many different food and a drink and desserts and ice cream and pizza and lots of food that you'd like to eat and drink. And so she said, eat the food as much as you want. And when you're done, when you finish, all you have to say is, bleat, little goat, bleat. Take the table quite away. Take the table away. And then the table will disappear, will be gone. So these are the magic words, she said to Two Eyes. And then this woman disappeared. She was a magic woman. She was a fairy. She disappeared. And so Two Eyes wanted to try whether it was true. So she got up and she said to the goat, bleat, little goat, bleat. Cover the table with something to eat, she said to the goat. And then, guess what? Suddenly, a beautiful table appeared with a white tablecloth, and there were lots and lots of food on the table and lots and lots of drink on the table. And the food looked like they just came out of a kitchen. It was hot and steaming. There was, the steam was going up. It was hot and smoking. Oh, so she was so happy. She sat down and she said a prayer. Let's see. She said a prayer. She said a very quick prayer, quick one, because she didn't want to take a long time because she was so hungry. She wanted to eat it. So she said a quick prayer. She said something like, God is good, God is great, thank you for our food, amen. Something like that. And so she said that, and then she began to eat. Oh, it tasted so good. She had never eaten such good food. So she ate and drank and ate and drank, and she was satisfied. She was full. And so she said to the table, bleat, little goat. Oh, she said not to the table. She said to the goat. She said to the goat, and she said, bleat, little goat, bleat. Take the table quite away. When she said that, it was a magic word, and so the table disappeared. And then she was very happy, and so she went home with the goat. When she came home, the older sister, One Eye and Three Eyes, were not very nice. They always gave her a little bit of food. And so there was this plate, the plate, and they had a little bit of food on the plate. And they said to the Two Eyes, Two Eyes, this is your evening meal. This is your dinner or supper, they said to Two Eyes. But Two Eyes didn't even touch it because she was full, because she had eaten already on the pasture. So she didn't touch it. Well, the next morning, the sisters gave her a scraps. Scraps means little piece of food. Scraps of food to her, to the Two Eyes, in the morning as breakfast, but she didn't touch it. She didn't even touch it. And then she took the goat to the pasture, and she, like she did the day before, she said to the goat, "Bleat, little goat, bleat. Cover the table with something to eat." And then bang, the beautiful table with white tablecloths appeared with lots of good food, hot food, as if they just had come out of the oven or the kitchen, and it was hot and steaming. Now she said a quick prayer, and she ate it, and she was full. And then she said, "Bleat, little goat, bleat. Take the table quite away." And then the table disappeared. And so after a while, the goat ate the grass, and she came home, and the two sisters gave her scraps of food, a little bit of food, but Two Eyes didn't even touch it. It was untouched. Okay? Well, on the first day and the second day, the sisters didn't notice it. But after a while, they began to notice that Two Eyes did not touch the food that these two sisters gave her. So they said to their mother, and said, "Mother, it's strange. Two Eyes are not touching the food that we give her. She used to eat everything we gave her, but now she doesn't touch it." The One Eye said to Mother, "I think Two Eyes are eating something out on the pasture." So the mother said to One Eye, "One Eye, tomorrow go with Two Eyes to the pasture and watch her. Maybe she's getting something from somebody. Somebody's bringing her food. Go and watch her." And so the next day, One Eye said to Two Eyes, "I will come with you to the pasture. I'll go with you to the pasture." Well, Two Eyes knew there is something wrong. And so she said, "All right, come with me then." But when she went to the pasture, she took different roads, different paths. And she went this way and that way and this way and that way. And so by the time they came to the pasture, One Eye was very, very tired because she had never walked that much. And so here's Two Eyes, okay? And here is One Eye, okay? Here's Two Eyes, this is One Eye. Two Eyes said to One Eye, "Why don't you sit down? Why don't you lie down and take a nap?" Two Eyes said to One Eye. One Eye was very tired from walking. She said, "All right." And so One Eye lied down on the pasture. And then the Two Eye began to sing a song. She began to sing a song. She sang, "One Eye, are you sleeping? One Eye, are you waking? One eye, are you sleeping? One eye, are you awaking? And then when she sang this music, one eye began to go to sleep. And she was fast asleep. She was fast asleep. So, when she was sleeping, two eyes said the magic word to the goat. She said, "Bleat, little goat, bleat. Cover the table with something to eat." And then bang, the table came out. And she ate, or she said a quick prayer, and then she ate. And after she finished eating, she said, "Bleat, little goat, bleat. Take the table quite away." And then the table, boom, disappeared. And then after that, two eyes woke her up. Wake up, one eye. If you are sleeping, you cannot watch the goat. It's time to go home. Let's go home. So the one eye finally woke up and they went home. After they came home, Mother asked one eye, "What did you observe? What did you see? Did two eye getting any food from somebody?" One eye said, "I don't know. I went to sleep," she said. So that night, Mother said to three eyes, "Three eyes, tomorrow you go with two eyes to the pasture and watch." So the next day, the three eyes and two eyes went to the pasture. Okay? And again, two eyes walked and walked and walked for a long time before they reached the pasture. And so the three eyes were very tired. So she said to three eyes, "Why don't you take a nap?" And so three eyes said, "All right." And she lay down. And then two eyes began to sing the song. She began to sing it, and she sang, "Three eyes, are you waking? Two eyes, are you sleeping? Three eyes, are you awaking? Two eyes, are you sleeping?" See, she made a mistake. She should have sung, "Three eyes, are you sleeping? Three eyes, are you awaking? Three eyes, are you sleeping?" She should have said three eyes all the time, but she made a mistake and she said, "Two eyes, are you sleeping?" And so what happened was, these three eyes, two went to sleep. Two went to sleep, but one was awake. But three eyes were smart. She was clever. She knew there was something wrong with this music. And so she acted like, she pretended like she wasn't asleep. The third eye was not asleep, but she closed the third eye. But she could open, close, open, close. She could blink. She could blink the third eye, but she let it shut for a while so that she could lie to two eyes. Okay, she could act like she was pretending like she was all her eyes were asleep. Now, when she thought three eyes were all sleeping, she said to the goat, "Little goat, bleat, little goat, bleat. Cover the table with something to eat." And then the table appeared, came out, and she ate the food. But when she was eating, this eye opened, the third eye opened, and the third eye watched her eating. And after she finished eating, she said, "Bleat, little goat, bleat. Take the table quite away." And then the table disappeared. The three eyes, she watched it. She saw it. Well, the two eyes thought she was asleep. And so she said to her, wake up, let's go home." And so they came home. Now, mother asked three eyes, "What did you see?" And then three eyes reported. She said, "Oh, mother, two eyes know a magic phrase." And she said something to the goat. And then this goat brings this beautiful food on a white table. And she eats so much better than we do. We have never eaten such good food, but she eats so well at the white table. She reported to mother. Mother was angry. She was angry because two eyes were eating much better than she was. And so she was so angry. She took a big knife and went to the goat and killed the goat. Well, when Two Eyes found out the mother had killed the goat, oh, she was very sad. She went back to next day. She went to the pasture by herself, and she sat down and she cried. She cried again. Then the fairy, the old woman, came and she asked her, "Why are you crying, Two Eyes?" Two Eyes said, "Oh, my mother killed the goat. Now I will not have food again. I will be hungry again," she said to the woman. The woman said, "I will help you again." She said, "Go back home and tell your sisters." They killed the goat, and they slaughtered. Slaughter means they cut the animal into different pieces so they can eat the meat. Yeah, slaughter. I think slaughter. Yeah, I think this is slaughter. Yes. Okay. And so the woman said, "Go home and ask your sisters to give you the goat's entrails." Entrail. Entrail is, okay, intestines. Okay, this is a person. This is a person. Okay, we have food, and there is the stomach, and then after stomach there is a like this. Okay, this is a small intestine, and this is a large intestine. So that is entrail. Okay? And so, entrails. Yeah. And so, the old woman or the fairy said, go home and ask your sisters to give you the goat's entrails. And then she said, outside of the house, bury. Okay? Bury. Remember? Bury the entrails outside of the house. The old woman gave her advice. So, Two Eyes went home and said to the sisters, please give me the entrails of the goat's entrails. They said okay, because they could not eat the entrails, and so they gave the entrails to her. Now, Two Eyes, when Two Eyes got the, this is the house, she buried the goat's entrails here, okay, and went to sleep. The next day, a wonder tree grew. A wonder tree grew. And this tree was beautiful because it had golden apples. It had golden apples, and the branches were made out of silver. Okay? So it was a beautiful tree. And so there were, apples, golden apple. So the mother and the sisters came out and looked at the tree. And the mother said, oh, I want that golden apples. So she said to One Eye to climb up the tree and get some golden apples. So One Eye climbed up the tree, and she wanted to catch, or she wanted to pluck. Pluck means to pull out. She wanted to pluck some apples, but when she wanted to, she tried to, this is an apple, and when she wanted to catch the apple, or touch the apple, or pluck the apple escaped. So when she wanted to touch the apple, the touch would escape. And so she couldn't pluck any apples. Mother said to One Eye, come down. And she said to Three Eyes, you have 3 eyes. You can see better. Climb up the tree and get some golden apples. So the 3 Eyes went there, but didn't happen. Every time she reached the apple would escape. She couldn't do it either. So the mother went up there, but mother couldn't either. So Two Eyes said, maybe I should try. Maybe I can do it. Because she knew this was her tree. Because she knew the tree came out from the place where she buried the goat's entrails, and so she knew it was hers. And so she climbed up there, and guess what? When she wanted to pluck an apple came to her, and so she could pluck very, very easily. She took many, many apples, she put them all in the apron, and she came down, and she gave it to the mother. She gave it to mother. Well, mother was not happy. She should have been happy. She should have been happy because she got the golden apples. But she wasn't happy because she wasn't the one who got the apples. Only Two Eyes could get the apples, and so she was not happy. And she was very unkind to her even after that. Okay? But one day, when they were outside looking at the tree, far away, somebody came. Somebody came. And it looked like a young man. And so one eye and two eyes said to one eye and three eyes said to two eyes, hide, you know. Hide yourself under the barrel. Okay. Something like that. You know, container. Get inside. I don't want him to see you. And so get inside. And so two eyes went inside and sitting under the barrel or inside the barrel. Barrel. I think this is the way how it's written. Barrel. Well, I don't know. I think it is. Okay, so she was hiding. Well, the man came, and he came here, and he looked at the tree, and he said, "Wow, what a wonderful tree, beautiful tree." He admire means he praised it. He liked it. So he said, "What a wonderful tree," he said to, now see, two eyes is gone. Okay, two eyes isn't here. And so mother and one eye and three eyes. So the young man said to these people, "Could you possibly give me one branch?" "Whose tree is this?" he asked. And then two girls said, "Oh, it's my tree," they said. And so he said, "Well, if it's your tree, will you go up there and break off a branch? You know, it's beautiful silver branch with a golden apple. Could you give me one? And if you give me, I'll do anything for you. I'll give you anything what you want," he said to the girls. And so the girls said, "Okay." And one eye climbed up there and wanted to break off a branch, but she couldn't because the branch escaped from her. And so she came down, and the young man said, "Isn't that strange? I thought this was your tree. Why can you not just break off a branch?" But she said, "Yes, it is my tree. It's my tree. I just couldn't do it this time, but it was my tree. It is my tree." Well, the three-eyed said, "I'll go." And so she went up there, and she wanted to break off a branch, but the branch escaped from her, so she couldn't even touch a branch. So she came down, and she was not happy. And the young man said, "Strange." Now, by this time, two eyes were under a barrel, okay, or inside the barrel, and she was not happy because this was her tree. And then she wasn't happy, so she happened to have two golden apples in her aprons, and so she threw the apple, two apples, to the prince, not prince, but the young man. She just threw the apples from the barrel. The young man saw the apples, golden apples, and he said, where do they come from? Where do they come from? Well, these two people, one eye and three-eyed, said, "Well, we have one sister who's got only two eyes, and I didn't want you to see her because she's very, very ugly. She's not pretty. and we do not want you to see her, they said. But the young man said, I want to see her, he said. And so he called her. He said, Two Eyes, come out. So Two Eyes came out from the barrel, and she said hi to the young man. And the young man said, can you go up there and get me a branch? And so she said, yes, of course, I can do that. So she climbed up a tree. Easily, she broke off a branch and came down and gave it to him. He was very, very happy, and he said, Two Eyes, now you gave me the branch. I can give you something. What do you want? And then Two Eyes said, please take me away with you. Please take me with you. I am very miserable at this house. My mother and two sisters give me so little that I am always hungry. Please take me away from these people and take me with you. And then the young man said, okay, I'll take you with me to my father's castle. And so he took her to the father's castle. Okay? Now, when I guess this man was a prince, and so they came here, and the man gave Two Eyes good food and beautiful dress, and then Two Eyes was so pretty that the young man fell in love with her, and he wanted to marry her. And so the wedding was celebrated, solemnized, and wedding was carried out, and the party was done, and she lived here very, very, she got married, okay? Now, these two people, the three people, were not very happy because now Two Eyes left, and she's very happy. And these two, One Eye and Three Eyes were very, very envious, jealous, because Two Eyes was very, very lucky. Two Eyes just left, and she married the prince. And so they thought, well, she left, but at least we have this tree. We may not be able to pluck the golden apples. We may not be able to break off a branch, but we can still look at it, and people will come and admire the tree, they thought. But the next day, the tree disappeared. The tree followed her and came to the castle. And so when Two Eyes looked outside the window, she saw her tree outside the window, and she was very happy to see the tree came with her to the castle. Two Eyes and the prince lived very happily together in the castle for many, many years. Then, one day, two people came to the castle and knocked on the door. Two Eyes opened the door and saw the two people, and they were her sisters. One was One Eye, and the other was Three Eyes. These two were very hungry. Mother had died, and these two became very poor, and they didn't have any place to go. And so they came to the castle, and they said, oh, Two Eyes, we are very sorry that we were very mean to you, very bad, unkind to you. we were very mean to you, very unkind to you, unkind to you. Please forgive us, they said. Please forgive us. They said, we are very sorry what we did to you when we were young, they said. So Two-Eyed said, okay. She forgave them. Forgive. She forgave them and let them come into the castle, and the three sisters lived in the same castle together very happily. The end.